I was just having this almost exact conversation with my cousin. He's like a musician, and now I don't know if you know, he's a sculptor and a fabricator and an artist. And we were just talking about the Doors and how we both had a Doors phase when we were like in our early teens. And he was like, "It's just perfect for when you're in your early teens." And I was like, "That's true. Like it is. There's like an 8-month window between like 13 and 14 where you're like, I love the Doors, and then after that, you don't have to love the Doors anymore. You could just move on
for sure. I mean, yeah. The Doors cast a large shadow over
SoCal.
Well, I mean, I was going to say specifically Exit House, my high school band. Yeah. Marty was a big. I mean, it just like he could do a really funny and great Jim Morrison, and that would find its way into his singing. Yeah. So it would be like, your head's in my lap, but your body's out back. Oh yeah, baby, 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 baby. like sounding just like just total Jim Morrison. Very, very funny.
That's good. But we should introduce the pod.
The pod is tired. Welcome to the new episode of Tired, the car podcast for people who understand that cars are bad, and also where we talk about classic rock. My name is Peter. I'm joined by Maddie and Rory.
And if you're listening to this, the episode that we uploaded right before this one was our 50th episode. Thank you for being with us for 50 episodes of Tired.
Wow.
This one is number 50, but we had a 0, so this is our 51st.
And Maddie, remind me, how many do we have to do before we're done?
Let me check the contract again. I gotta double up on my Mandarin really quick and reread.
Because
Our propaganda stipend, I think, holds up for like 50 more, and then we got to re-up.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the feedback's been pretty good. Is the Soros Foundation? Mm-hmm. They're pretty happy. Okay, cool. Good.
Yeah, I get these postcards in Cyrillic. I can't read it. I can't read that shit. But they just put a little smiley face in there. I just assume it's fine.
You know, on a serious note, I one time at the gym told the guys that I work out with that every American journalist gets $1,500 a month from the Soros Foundation. In like my usual deadpan way of like explaining things, I was like, yeah, they were talking about like a local guy who used to write for the paper in town, the Traverse City Record Eagle, and they're like, yeah, I don't know what he's doing anymore. Like I don't think he really works that much. And I was like, well, I mean, like a lot of us just pick up like part-time work and then, kind of coast on that $1,500 a month that we get. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, from the Soros Foundation, like most American journalists, you can just apply and get $1,500 a month. And they were like, oh, okay. Like, really? And I was like, yeah, it's just like part of being a journalist. And they're like, oh, I mean, that's crazy that like, and I was like, that's not real. Like that, like, that would be awesome if that was real, but like totally like, yeah, okay, that sounds plausible.
That's really funny.
Rory, you could sell scuba gear to a fish talking like that, I think.
I do have a people do have a hard time telling when I'm lying.
Yeah, it's a skill.
Yeah.
I get accused of doing a bit sometimes, and I'm like, no, I'm serious. It's real. That's real. It's a real thing.
I do love winding people up.
What are we talking about today? What do we got?
We got car stuff. I think is there car stuff happening in the world right now?
There's a little bit of car stuff going on.
I did see
some stuff.
Did you guys see the electric? Fred Lambert, this guy, he was a journalist, also on the dole at the Soros Foundation. He was like a huge Elon guy. I think he started the site Electrek. or was like one of the early editors or whatever.
With a
I don't
K.
really, I don't really follow his stuff. He was like this huge Elon booster and a huge Tesla booster, and I wouldn't say got in trouble, but he faced a half-hearted rebuke from most serious automotive journalists when it was revealed that he runs a pro-Tesla website and also was getting a referral for every Tesla sold. Early on, this is maybe 10 years ago. But he has since, in the last year or so, begun publishing some kind of anti-Elon stuff, or like, Elon skeptical stuff. And Elon hates it now. Like, Elon was like, he was one of these guys. There's like the whole Mars catalog guy, who he and I have crossed paths in the past before. But Elon, when he is betrayed by one of these court eunuchs, he is
sycophants.
You cannot hurt him. He hates this Fred guy, and has threatened Fred. And but Fred has a thing on Electrek today. Tesla autopilot drives into Wile E. Coyote fake road wall in camera versus LiDAR test. And they literally, we should publish this photo on the notes. It is a Model Y fucking blasting a photograph of the road that is set out in front of the road.
The video is incredible.
Some YouTuber built a Wile E. Coyote road, and this thing just smokes it. No brakes, all gas. It's really, really good. And I think, like, the Electrek thing. This is Electrek's take at the end. I think it's clear that no Tesla vehicle currently available will be capable of level 5 autonomy, as Elon has claimed, which is so funny. Level 4 is also questionable, which I think, like, it's not questionable. It's like not even close.
Wait, this just went up an hour ago.
Yeah.
I just searched on YouTube for Tesla Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
And here it is. And I'm gonna skip ahead to the
go watch that. Enjoy
here.
that. I like that the article also points out that, like, Elon's refusal to use the LiDAR, even though the technology has rapidly advanced, like, it's all ego, that he turned it down. He said it was bad once, and now he has to triple down again and again on the cameras instead of LiDAR, which is great. Classic Elon.
It's so funny because it is such like a. I know we talked about the stock thing last episode or 2 episodes ago, but it's like, it is such a transparent, like, I don't know. I don't, like, I'm not an expert on self-driving cars. Like, I know a little bit, and I've done research, like, stories that I've reported, like I've felt like I'm credible enough to make the reporting that or make the claims in my reporting that I'm making. But the idea that, like, anyone on Wall Street or any institutional investor would believe that that a Tesla, as currently configured from a physical standpoint, the technology that is on board a Tesla is capable of level 5 autonomous driving is so absurd. But it's so funny to watch, like, the tests of, like, rolling out the dummies in the street and watching them just get absolutely smoked, like, blown apart. Or, like, all the reports of, like, the cars hitting emergency vehicles, like, but it is like, regulators, obviously, even all the way up to NHTSA, like, totally fine with those existing on the road. Like, this, like, I don't think that there's an analog anywhere in consumer products that is so transparently dangerous and so transparently, like, it would be like maybe a gun that, like, 1 out of every 10 times fires backwards at you. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the analog would be. Like, I don't like, or like I don't know. Like an.
Wait, is that a thing? Can you get one of those?
How many?
Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah.
Where do you get that?
Distribution program. Some ideas.
But it is it's so funny that like people were bought into this, like, oh yeah, he's going to invent self-driving, and like also people 6 months ago were still invested in this idea that they would come up with self-driving cars when Waymo, a different company, kind of has done that. Like the Waymo kind of has like, I don't think they're all the way to the point where they're going to be like a robotaxi widespread and like in cities in any way that's like could constitute a business. But it's like they did a bunch of like they're way out ahead of everybody else. Like they have what is probably as close.
Yeah, there was that story. I think it was on that electric site too. That story where it was like the dude from Waymo, right? Is he still there, or is it the guy that like was
former Waymo CEO? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking. But the thing is, he's talking about. Well, the thrust of that article was about how that Tesla taxi, right, the self-driving taxi.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a million ways to make it fake.
It's going to go into service in June, right?
No.
Yeah. But he's saying that basically like that they'll roll that out and it'll be completely fake, right? Like it's not, like but the way, like, hearing him talk about like what Waymo has accomplished, because it is the case that if you are in certain places in the U.S., you can get in a fucking Waymo self-driving car and with nobody in it, and nobody babysitting it,
driving a circle in a parking lot until someone comes and releases you.
That has happened, and. But no, but for the most part, they're functional. You can get a ride around San Francisco.
It's probably about as close as it'll ever be.
Those cities have infrastructure built in to make those as good as they're getting, right? Like that's like it's a big.
No, the cars do work. It's just like they work in certain circumstances.
Yeah,
would be the
they would. If you plopped one down here, it wouldn't work where I am.
Right.
Yeah.
No. But what was interesting about that article was just hearing him talk about, like, just not in pie in the sky promise terms.
Oh,
that we're accustomed
Kravchuk.
to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Friend of the pod.
But
have him on.
I didn't know. Let's have him on.
Mm-hmm.
But rather in terms that are very realistic and pragmatic, and just saying, no, look, there's a lot of stuff that that like these things are incredibly difficult, and you can't just like promise shit and roll it out. It's like you have to go, like, the amount of testing that they go through, and to even get like to a baby step kind of thing is really exhaustive. But his whole kind of critique of that Tesla taxi thing is like, look, this is a fantasy, because it's like, for one thing, if you're going to do this, like, you can't, he talks about the amount of work that they had to go to be able to get Waymos onto freeways and interstates, which is still like extremely, extremely limited,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But he talks about that. It's just like, it's really the first time that I've read or seen anything from somebody actually talking about like doing the actual work, the engineering.
Yeah. It's the difference. Yeah, it's the difference between like making a serious effort at something and then just lying about it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And the thing with the Tesla taxi is he said like just you can tell just by looking at it, like, that this is just it's all wrong.
Not real.
Right? It's you need fucking you need big sensors like all over the car that are going to be fucking ugly,
Yeah.
And you have to have apparati in place to clean those sensors, right? They have to be able to self-clean themselves so that you can, because as soon as something gets dirty, or you know what it's like when you the first time you use your backup camera on, you put your car into reverse, and it's after like a snowy day or a day of driving, like on the highway or whatever, and it's just all coated with gunk, you know, and it's like you can't see shit. And so is your car's
LiDAR,
self-driving sensors.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
This man, I'm looking
Anyway.
at electric for the first time in years, and there's a Tesla Model S Plaid gets smoked in drag race by Xiaomi's cheaper SU7 Ultra. There's a lot of like critical stuff
Rory,
on here.
every electric article I've seen has popped up on my feed because it's anti-Tesla. It pops with my little mobile homepage thing, my little pocket suggested.
We should get Fred on. I wonder like what his.
I had no idea they used to be pro-Tesla.
Oh, he was like the most. He was literally financially incentivized. Like he was getting paid to report positive news on Tesla.
Yeah, no, I would have never guessed.
Even he has found his way to hating this fucking guy.
Yeah.
That's very, very funny.
I guess the checks stopped coming. Can I tell you guys a story about some incredible stupidity?
Of course.
Is this oil change story time?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yay! Let's hear it.
Well, today was it was nice out, and it's the weekend, and my wife's car, the Mazda CX-5, due for an oil change. So I went out to do it, and actually, I mean, it was supposed to be a nice day, and then this morning I get up and it's like, all right, it says it's gonna start raining in 20 minutes.
Oh.
And this is what happens here. It's just, you know, like, it's going to rain in 20 minutes. Then it's like you're waiting. It's like half an hour's gone by. It still says, oh, it's coming. It's coming in 10 minutes, you know, and then like finally at some point it like the threat of rain has gone, you know, and I'm just like, all right, I've fucking wasted like half of my morning now, like waiting for this fucking, you know, fictitious rain to come through that never materializes. So finally I go out, but it's like, it's cloudy and overcast, you know, it's kind of like, it's dark. But whatever, I'm just going to fucking knock this out. So I do, and I'm on autopilot. I jack the car up and, you know, drain it and do all the things. And it's going fine. I go to spin the oil filter on, and I notice that as I'm like screwing it on, like it's kind of like it's a little bit tight as I'm turning it, and it's like, oh, that's weird. Is it like cross-threaded, you know? So I, you know, undo it, and then like, you know, take it all the way off and like look at it. It's like, oh, it looks fine, you know. I screw it on there, and again, it's like it's not. It's like it's
gritty.
Not, it's not gritty. It's more like just kind of like tight,
harder,
like
resisting.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's resisting in a weird way, and I'm just like, what? Whatever, you know. And it's like,
I'm so scared.
It's going
right
on. It's going on. It's going on, and I'm able to tighten. It's just like, it's not spinning freely in that way that usually when you put an oil filter on there, you can just literally just spin it, you know, let it screws itself in.
Yeah.
Just tighten it. But it's just like, whatever. I'm tightening it by hand and getting up there, and just visually, like, it's snug at the top. And I'm like, you know, maybe it's just like a weird, you know, manufacturing defect or something, or just, yeah, I don't even know. But I screw it. I get it like sufficiently snug that, like, you know, I'm comfortable. I think it's fine. And the thing is, and I'm not, like I say, I'm a little bit on autopilot. I don't know. Like, I don't think I had my head entirely in the game this morning. As will become apparent. So, anyway, fill the, you know, put the new oil in, and you know, and look underneath, and nothing's leaking. It's fine. Like, okay, cool. I guess I had dropped I had dropped the car off the jack stands, let it down on the ground, and now I go just to like move it, start the car up, and I start hearing like kind of a weird kind of like kind of noise, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? That's weird. And I'm kind of like waiting for it to like go away, but it's like still going, and I'm like looking, you know, and the hood is up still, and I'm like looking, I don't see anything, and it's just like what the fuck is that? And then I look, you know, I step back and I look underneath, and yeah, no,
all the oil's out.
All of the oil is I mean, it's visibly like spreading everywhere. And I'm just like, fuck. So, you know, turn the car off as quickly as I can. Of course, the engine light is lit up, and I'm just like, God, fucking fuck. And you know, I'm doing this in my fucking driveway, you know? And I was like, God, fuck. And it's just, so there's just like this huge puddle of oil underneath the Mazda. And I'm just like, God fucking damn it. What the, how? And it's like, and I just think it's gotta be that fucking oil filter. And so I go yelling to my wife to just like, you know, can you please bring me like all the towels that we have that we don't need? Just so I can like fucking throw these things down. And it's like, and the thing, and I just say, I said something very catastrophic has happened, and this might be the end of your car. Like, I don't know. And she's just kind of like, okay. And so, yeah, so I set about cleaning up my mess and get the car back up on the jack stands and throw the cardboard on top of the towels and get underneath there and unscrew. And of course, you know, there's just fucking oil just dripping from, you know, because there's the whole plastic kind of under tray thing that like the oil has just like drip, you know, it's dripping from every part. So I'm just like, I've got a towel. I'm just trying to mop up the underside of that and just keep it from fucking just dripping oil all over me as I'm under the, and so I unscrew the oil filter. Well, I guess the first thing that I do is just undo the what do you call it, the plug,
yeah,
and I'm relieved, the drain plug, and I'm relieved that like some oil is left in the engine. Yeah, some oil still came out, not a ton, but probably like at least like
enough. If there's oil in the pan, there's oil in the motor. Yeah, that is not legal advice, by the way. What I just said, it's not necessarily the
case. Anyway, so yeah, and then so screw that back on, and then unscrew the filter, and yeah, and bunch of oil drops out, and not one but two rubber rings fall into the oil pan.
So the rings stayed on.
So one of those rings stayed on, and I think that it was like caught, and the thing is, and because it was like, you know, I'm outside, it's kind of dark, like I'm just kind of like, you know, and I just didn't even notice.
Honestly though, best case scenario, like that, I was terrified you were going to say you cross-threaded the oil filter thread.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so then I was just like, okay, well, I really fucked myself, but I went and bought some
another
oil,
5 quarts
oil
of oil
filter. and came home and just, you know, and this time, like the oil filter, and this is like why I felt like such a fucking dipshit, you know, because it's like, yeah, you screw it on, and it's like, yeah, it's not just that you screw it on, it's that it literally spins.
It's like
freely.
A watch. Yeah.
It's like a fucking, it's like a spinner toy, you know? It's like one of those fidget toys where the spinner thing. Yeah, it's just like you can just
really long.
You put it on there and you just go, and it'll just go. And it's like, so if you're changing your oil and you're putting your oil filter on and it doesn't spin freely when you're spinning it on, something's wrong.
I mean, I think that's the old.
And
we've said this in the pod before.
No, exactly.
But it's like,
if it's not,
if it seems like it's harder to tighten than it should be, then really inspect it, because like there's something wrong, and that's like the number one way to really damage your shit. But it sounds like you got away with it.
Well, I hope so. Fine. Yeah. So yeah, filled the engine up. Everything's tight, and started it up. It seems fine. Check engine light was on.
It's fine.
I grabbed the code reader.
There's residual oil all over all those parts for 1,000 miles. That is also not legal advice. Do not drive your car with no oil in it for 1,000 miles.
But yeah, the code the check engine light code was just like a low oil pressure warning. It was nothing beyond that, and I cleared it, and it seems like it's fine now.
Nice.
I hope I didn't do any. I mean, yeah,
it's fine. There's no way.
Okay.
I will. If this is the Rory Carroll warranty, if you've damaged your engine, you, Peter, not you, podcast listener.
Okay.
If in this specific instance, we can fix it at the house. There's nothing wrong with it, I guarantee.
we can fix
bring it up here. We'll put another motor in it.
Rebuild.
We'll put another motor in it,
or just put another motor. Yeah, and then that would be the thing to do. But it just made me feel like this is the simplest of simple
Peter, I'm gonna
shit.
tell you, I'm telling you, like, as someone who I think is like more experienced a mechanic than you, that is the most honest mistake. I've done so much. I did dumber shit than that today. Like I do, I do dumber shit. That is the most honest mistake. Like I've never.
Well, of course,
seen
it's an honest mistake, but it's honesty has nothing to do with it. It's just like fucking. But I've never seen, that's like a potentially catastrophic fucking mistake to make.
Sure, but I've never seen that rubber gasket detach and stick to the motor before. I've never seen.
Yeah, well, I hadn't
before.
either.
Yeah, that is not an expected. That's not something you check for. I think you're well within, like I said, honest mistake territory there.
I don't know, man. It just made me think that like I have no fucking business doing any of this shit. It's like
none of us do.
And I thought about the fact that it's like, okay, I'm like entertaining the idea of like doing brakes on this car, and it's like, brakes? Really? You're gonna do that? You trust yourself to do?
Of course.
On your fucking wife's car?
You can do brakes.
Like,
I did brakes on my friend Tom's car today, and it was
I saw,
mostly fine. I did end up having to. It was mostly fine. No, there was a couple. It's an old car, and there was like a. It's been,
have I met your friend before?
Tom, I don't think so. Tom is a guitar player who I know him. He's in a bunch of my friends' bands. He's in
the reason I say this is because I swear to God I have seen that license plate before. And I don't think in a context, like I think I've seen it at shows that
That's
I've
possible.
been playing.
That's possible. I mean, Tom's like he's a big music guy, and like he's in Metal Bubble Trio with Andrew Doss, the guy who lives up here in Fawn, and Tom's a shredder. Like he's a very good guitar player. So you may have seen him at a show somewhere. It's totally possible. But he, it was a classic, he shows up he's like, I'll be over there on Sunday morning. I wake up at 8, making my breakfast, and I haven't heard from him. And he's like, texts me, and he's like, hey, can I come over at 10? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, can we be done by 1:30? And it's like, yeah, man, as long as nothing goes wrong on your 20-year-old car, we will be done by 1:30.
It's like, yeah, we can be done then, but it can also not be done then.
Yeah, we could also be just getting started. Right. But it ended up being fine. There's more to do on that specific car, but we had ended up rebuilding a caliper in the garage. not rebuilding, disassembling and inspecting.
Yeah.
Ended up being totally fine. But yeah, it is the one thing I'll say about it is it is like my almost lifelong insistence on doing everything myself and never visiting a mechanic is like mostly very annoying until you work on a car that someone else has taken to a mechanic, and then you're like there were like, so that piston inside of a brake caliper, the way a brake caliper works is there's a this is for the listeners, not for you guys, but a brake caliper is a piece of metal with two pistons in it, and there's a hydraulic cylinder that, for the sake of this explanation, is when you push your brake pedal, there's hydraulic fluid being compressed in a cylinder, and then a brake line takes that fluid and that pressure and transfers it into a piston and a pump, which pushes the brake pads together and pinches your brake rotor. So your brake rotor in this case is like if you've ridden a mountain bike and you hit the brakes and you look down and you can see those two little pincers pinching your wheel to slow you down. The caliper is doing the same thing with two brake pads. In this case, they're powered by a little hydraulic, like a cylinder, like a piece of steel that's like a little shot glass. I pulled this thing out today because it was seeping a little bit, and it was like scored. Like it was like somebody had maybe tried to pull it out with pliers at one point, or like dropped it and like kicked it along the floor. But it was like there were like score marks all over this piston that is like it's like a beautifully machined little shot glass, like a little cylinder. And it was like all chewed up. It was like, how the fuck did that happen? Like who? And it's like some mechanic had this and tried to pull it out with a pair of pliers, like a vice grips or whatever, or like kicked it across the shop floor. But I got it cleaned up enough to like it seals and it's fine. Which is probably like the thing to do would be to buy another one. And like, I probably will end up doing that at some point, and then like the bleeder. So there's a screw that allows you to, basically like release pressure, out of the brakes when you bleed the brakes, which is like you remove the oxygen or air from that system. But there's air. So brake fluid will not compress. If you have a perfect cylinder and you try to compress it, it's the property of the fluid is that it does not compress, where like water or air will compress a little bit. So if there's air in the system, you'll get that spongy feeling in your brake pedal. But I assume someone who is paid to be a mechanic for a living stripped the shit off, like on the bleeder screw was completely rounded off. It was like completely, and like, then you're in a situation where like, okay, can I find another bleeder screw in Traverse City, Michigan on Sunday? Do I risk taking a pair of pliers to this and maybe breaking it off inside? Then you need another caliper, which is, $100 or whatever. Like we're trying to do our friend a favor by doing this cheaply so that it's not going to a mechanic. Anyway, it ended up being like, okay, from 10 a.m. until 3, my day was fixed, which I'm always, for the record, very, very happy to do. I'm always, I think I get some shit from some people, friends and family who are like, why would you take your entire day to work on somebody else's car when you have many of your own projects and a family or whatever? But it does, I'm always very happy to do that for people. And always very happy to hang out in the shop working on stuff. But yeah, it ended up being like a 5-hour ordeal where it's like,
like
should have been,
oil change.
Yeah, should have been. But the reason I bring that up is it's always like that, man. Like it's like, do it yourself. You have assurance that when it's back together, it's it's either done right or it's done wrong in a way that you understand. Like in a way that when something happens, you'll go, oh yeah, okay, it's because I fucking did this or whatever. But yeah, it's like, to me, it's always worth It's always, even when you fuck up, even when it takes way longer than you expect it to, it's always worth doing it. And like, I sent the car away with Tom, and I was like, oh man, I kind of want to get back in there and fix a couple of, like, there were other things that I saw when I was in there. It's like, we could take care of that.
On his car?
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
we could fix that.
Rory, wait till you get a load of this Corolla. Wait till you see my
Corolla,
boy.
wait till we enter this Corolla when Toyota Corolla is the featured mark at Pebble Beach in 2035. Me and Maddie are gonna be walking away with the trophies, drinking champagne.
Yeah, that's funny because I'm thinking of when I just took it to the dealership for them to however hard they torqued down the fucking plug to fix it properly. But to
This
get
is
back
the
there,
oil drain plug, right?
yeah, on my Corolla, and then we had to handle my mom's car too. But my so I brought it back to the dealership. Last time I was there, and they like actually gave me like a rundown of the maintenance that they saw that it needed, which was, I want to say, like 5 months ago, maybe something like that. They had told me that, like, well, we noticed a bunch of things, but like the really important thing is that we saw that your transmission lines are starting to rust. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put that on the back burner. I'll get back to you. I came in this time, and they gave me a list of things. I sent you guys the picture of all of the nonsense. They were like, you need this, and I was like, that's cool. Transmission all looked okay, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, great, okay. That's fine. Very cool.
We'll get to the bottom of it. In really not too long, right?
Yeah, very soon. Exciting.
A few days, yeah.
I got to
Very excited.
I got to run the minivan out to Ohio again Tuesday. All day driving, baby.
Classic.
Yeah, I'm gonna really load that thing up. On a bookshelf.
Yeah, we'll get her. This, like I said, Pebble Beach 2035. They're gonna be like, and the winner from Traverse City, Michigan.
My boy, please, he's very sick. Please, you saw my brakes are down too. Oh, my boy.
Just gonna leave you in the shop by yourself, and you
Oh God.
you can teach yourself.
Peter, if you think
language
you found something to
machines.
do today that caused problems, you could not imagine. Like, you just set me down in front of literally any part of a car mechanically. I would invent like the sequel to Mistakes. I would invent Mistakes 2.
Maddie, I could see.
I don't believe it.
I could see you. No. If Peter and I can do it, you can do it. This is a universal truth. It's like you go to a mechanic shop and you say, if this guy can do it, I can do it. This is my friend Nate.
Nate again, classic Nate.
Nate 1. Yes. He used to work at this brewery that also was a barbershop up here.
Sure.
Which is very like classic Old West type of business.
Yeah, you can't run out of space. Why not?
But he hated his boss. His boss accused Nate. His boss, I don't know if I can say this. He suddenly became very paranoid for a cause. A reason that we can all guess at why he became very paranoid. But he accused Nate of stealing out of the till, and so Nate quit. But he used to cut hair, and Nate, out of spite, was like, look, if this guy can cut hair, I can cut hair too. And he taught himself to cut his own hair. So Nate, to this day, cuts his own hair. It like styles his own hair. Like it looks like a barber cut it. Does it with a series of like a couple of mirrors.
Yep.
And like it's a real achievement. But if we can teach ourselves to be mechanics, then you can also teach yourself. You will also teach yourself, Maddie, to be a mechanic.
We're gonna need a lot of. We're gonna do a lot of.
I'm gonna lock you in the shop.
Here's Rory explaining what he's doing, and then for me to do it.
No. I'm gonna lock you in the shop, and you're gonna learn the language of the machines.
You're gonna eat me alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just slide some food under the door.
I'm in the classic parlance of people who are too online. I'm really more of a word cell and not really a shape rotator. Not really great at rotating a shape. I gotta tell you, really a words guy. But I'll learn with help.
It's all the same. Words, shapes. There's a new documentary coming out about. We should do an episode on that. Looks incredible. Looks so good. And like Dale.
Dale.
Yeah. Dale. That's a Dale documentary. But the thing about Dale too and Dale Jr. is like both walk the line of being like NASCAR heroes, not just heroes, royalty, like pinnacle Michael Jordan of NASCAR, right?
Yeah.
But also good people and not like total psychos, which is very strange. Like you think about that, like you know, especially today, any wokeness or any like shadow of wokeness in the NASCAR crowd is not looked upon very fondly. But the Earnhardts are decent Americans, and they have somehow escaped the ire of the average NASCAR fan, which is very interesting. But I'm really looking forward. The Last Dance 30 for 30, the Michael Jordan documentary. You guys watch that?
I heard about it.
Oh,
I saw the memes.
I haven't, but
no, you got to watch it. It's like
I mean, the thing is, I saw that stuff when it happened.
So did I. I was a little kid, but
He was like, I was there, man. I saw it.
No.
I
I was
there.
In hindsight, I would be the biggest Michael Jordan hater in the world. I was a Pistons fan, and like in hindsight, like now as an adult, if this was happening and I was like in my 30s or whatever, I'd be a pure Michael Jordan hater. But at the time, it was like, but the documentary is fantastic. Whatever you think about it,
I was totally
a great film.
indifferent. I didn't give a shit. And the thing is, the thing is at that time I like kind of mid 90s was when I discovered Jim Rome. And,
Oh God.
and the thing is, and that period of Maddie, do you know who Jim Rome is?
No, rings a bell.
He's a sports radio guy, and he
I'm
was.
sure I've heard him.
He's still around, and I think he's like he's had TV shows like you know like ESPN shows kind of off and on over the years, and I don't know if he has one now.
Maybe a Sirius XM kind of guy now, huh?
Maybe,
He's probably got a podcast now.
I'm not sure. He had
he's
this,
our colleague in the
this
podcast.
radio show. He had this radio show that was like an LA based show in the early 90s that then became syndicated in a few places around the country, and like the first 4 affiliates. And the show was called The Jungle, right? And the theme music was Iggy Pop, you know, Lust for Life, you know, boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and it's like, and the thing is, the show was so. I was gonna say the first 4 affiliates. One of them was Rochester, and this is like 10 years before I moved to Rochester, and in the jungle the Rochester was just like everything had like the whole show was based around kind of gloss, right, which was like short for glossary. So it was just the kind of the internal language of the jungle, right? And so everything had its own name that was kind of unique to the show, and Rochester was known as Crapchester.
Damn, got
it's
him.
so funny for me to think about that.
Not
this
Crotchester,
radio show,
or
I know,
like
it's
there's a
not
million
Portuguese.
ways you could go with that.
No,
Not
it's
a high effort.
Crapchester. It's just it's so dumb, but it's so perfect. But the show was so funny, and and it was
Rochester, rot. It's rotting. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Right? Yeah, no.
Sorry.
But it was a call-in show, and the calls were very. I mean, there have been a few movies. There was a great movie that came out with Patton Oswalt. I mean, this is probably 10, 15 years ago. Is it called Big Fan?
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
what it was called?
Yeah, and he's like,
where I mean it's basically like Patton Oswalt is this guy who's just like a sports radio addict, and his whole life revolves around this radio show that he would call into, and he would practice his calls, you know, and then, you know, and when he would do a good one, you know, it was like this huge deal. But you know, like if he flamed out, then he would just like, you know, wanted to kill himself. But this is very much like, I mean, this is
real.
The
that's a
culture
real
of the jungle, of the Jim Rome show.
Yeah.
Because these people, the regular callers, you would get to know them, right? Because they would call in so frequently. And some of them were, I mean, it was so fucking funny. And it's like, and it's the kind of thing like, I mean, I was into football. I was into baseball. I didn't give a shit about anything else sports wise, but I would end up just like watching hockey or basketball just because I would be hearing about it so constantly. And so you get to know kind of the storylines or whatever. And it's funny actually, like one of the things, like talking about NASCAR, I mean, for years, Rome would kind of crack wise about, you know, I mean, he kind of viewed NASCAR as just this, you know, I mean, like what I think most people, I mean, still do, right? Is just that it's this kind of like redneck sport, and he was very dismissive to it. And then at some point, kind of mid-90s, and of course, like the 90s were the years where NASCAR was just going full supernova in terms of just, you know, its popularity. And at some point he had, you know, like a driver, you know, he had a driver on the show, and discovered that like, oh, these guys are like super self-aware. They're really smart. They're really funny. They're really well-spoken. They're media savvy, you know, and then he you know, he just instantly, and he totally copped to it. He was just like, no, I was completely wrong. This stuff is great. You know, it's hilarious. Yeah, it's just, how do we even get on that? Oh, because of the fucking Michael Jordan thing. And so that's why I was watching like those, I mean, that game that didn't they make that, I mean, the other documentary that I haven't seen, Jordan documentary, didn't they make a one about just that specific game where he was really sick?
Oh, the flu game.
Yeah,
I don't. It's in. I know it's in the.
Or was it just
the Last Dance? Yeah, it's an episode.
Oh, okay. Was it just part of that?
Yeah, but it is.
But I mean, I remember watching that game live, and you could see, you know, I mean, and like I say, I did not have any particular interest in this outside of just this kind of cursory familiarity with it. But just watch it. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
You could see like the guy just dragging himself up and down the court, and just like,
there are a lot of rumors, you know, he's a total degenerate gambler too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Like a very huge, degenerate, but there's a lot of rumors that he was very hungover that day and did not actually have the flu.
Well, I mean, the stories that I've heard were that it was like he had like food poisoning, because like some I mean, this could be completely apocryphal, but I mean, I think there's a conspiracy theory that
it's a psyop,
that maybe like whoever delivered his food the night before had made sure that it would make
like
him
a
sick.
2-day-old shrimp or whatever. Yeah. But I will say my friend Henry did like all the titles in that movie, and which is why I ended up watching it. Henry, actually, you guys met him at the Hill Climb. He was filming at the Hill Climb. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he did all the like animations, which are like a key part of the movie and like make the movie work. But it's that one, I would say, like sports documentaries. Now this is a real grab bag episode at this point, but like,
how did we get to Michael Jordan? I can't.
We're talking about. I said he was the Michael Jordan. Dale Earnhardt was the Michael Jordan of NASCAR.
NASCAR. Jim Rome would call it neck car.
This does not even make sense.
This does not make him sound smart or funny at all, right?
Yeah.
A little rough. No.
I remember listening to
I'll
Rome
find-
in Traverse City. At some point, he got on the local sports talk, and
Yeah.
he has a very distinctive. Like I remember working on houses with my dad, and like you can hear, he has a very very distinctive voice, but a voice that really carries in a way where you can hear him and you can hear his cadence,
Oh, yeah.
but you cannot understand what he's saying. Like,
Okay.
it's very sharp and like staccato, but you don't. It does not carry in the sense that like a booming voice, like you can hear what they're saying. He's just
Right.
you can hear the patois of Jim Rome's speech pattern, like is very distinctive.
Yeah.
And you can also imagine exactly what he looks like when you hear his voice. We should
Goatee.
Yeah. Goatee, slick back hair.
He's also kind of a car guy too.
We should have him
I've
on.
heard him. Oh, actually one of the funniest bits. I'll send this to you guys. You can find it. I'm sure it's on YouTube. I know other spots where you can find it, but there was an incredible bit, and it turned into a recurring thing. But he told a story one day on the show of I think maybe it might have been like his first new car that he bought, when he got like his first like real job out of college, and he had like a little bit of money to play with. He's like, I'm going to buy me a new car. And he bought this car that he thought was so cool. And it was the Mercury XR4 Ti.
Oh yeah, that is a cool car. He's right.
But it turned out like the one he got was like a complete lemon, and he just had like these nightmarish experiences with it. That Maddie, the Mercury was a European Ford.
English, yeah.
It was Ford Sierra that was just kind of like the 80s. It's kind of like the European equivalent of the Ford Taurus, but they made it in like
That's unfair, Peter.
The sedan was. I mean, it was. I mean,
it was rear wheel drive, and it was turbocharged.
Yeah.
And it was.
Well, no. I'm just talking about the
standard
plain
one.
old
Yeah,
Ford Sierra.
Yeah, it was like a workaday sedan.
Yeah, but you're right. It was rear wheel drive. But just in terms of just being just like kind of just a regular, just normal person 4-door sedan car, but kind of aerodynamic, kind of that 80s
Bubble.
Aero melted
Late 80s, yeah, like the bubble style.
Look. Right. But then they made kind of a sporty version of it. That was a coupe, and it had kind of like a double-decker rear spoiler on it.
Cosworth,
and
yeah, which is a very cool car.
Like a turbo engine. And then they imported this car, and actually, these ones they were German built, which was the reason that they're going to bring him here, sell him here as captive imports, but sell them through Mercury dealerships. But they called it they gave it a whole new brand name, which was German for Mercury. Merkur, spelled Merkur, right? So it just looks like Merkur. Right?
Which is cool.
So I mean, that was kind of like mistake number one, just marketing wise. It's like, what the fuck is a Merkur?
Yeah, it was like.
So it's like you're already bringing this kind of like slightly esoteric European, you know
whose idea this was?
Sophisticated commodity. Whose idea was it? Bob Lutz?
Yeah, this is a Lutz joint.
I mean, it's a great
all
idea to bring
over
the
it.
car over, but it's
Yeah.
like, don't call it fucking Merkur. Like, come on.
Lutz will get remembered for a lot of different things. What he will not be remembered for is being a total like Europhile, where he's like, if something is good in Europe, we should have something like that in America, which is like his whole career basically is like him loving things that are just from Europe and trying to create the equivalent product in the United States. But I will say, like, the XR4 Ti was in period, like if you read all the, which I'm sure you have, but like if you read all the Car and Driver, like was reviewed very favorably against like the BMWs, and like it was like a incredible car to drive, and really cool, like really like it was like
funky, weird.
Yeah, but it's like, this is the Lutz thing, is it's like, why would you buy a Mercury XR4 Ti when you can buy a fucking Fox body for less money Mustang with a 5-liter V8? Like why would you go down to the Mercury dealership and buy a 2.2 liter turbocharged? It's like, and it's like in Bob Lutz's mind, it's like, well, because it's more European. That's more European. Like that's more, but like if you're an American, which I am, unfortunately, or whatever, fortunately, like I would absolutely go buy a fucking Fox body before I would spend more money to have the smaller displacement Mercury, and
Mercury,
and you'd have the advantage, which I hate to say it is very important to car people, of not having to fucking explain what your car was to every person that you meet. It's like,
right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Out. Just to put that mentality, that Bob Lutz mentality of kind of Euro supremacism into context, historically, automotively speaking.
Yes.
You got to remember that, 70s and 80s, this is, this is Malaise era, and I feel like this is, there's a reason that I'm making this point, and it's something that I've been thinking about, because during those times, as a car enthusiast, what we had in the U.S. to a large extent was dog shit, you know, and because the Europeans, look, lots of European cars were sold here, but the versions that we would get were
detuned or
right. They were crappier versions of what you would get in Europe. So like the Mercedes-Benz cars that you could buy in the US in the 70s and into the 80s, they were like across the board, they would be like a third down on power and torque compared to the equivalent models in Europe, because in Europe they had not yet introduced the emission standards that U.S. companies were saddled with and hadn't quite figured out how to cope with and engineer their way around. And so there was just this kind of like this mentality of like, well, we get the shitty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the good stuff all stays in Europe, and that's why like the gray market was like that was a really big thing, where there were all these just kind of fly by night companies that would
federalize
import these cars, import European spec cars, quote unquote federalize them to make them legal to be sold, sometimes even in California, but where you would still they would figure out ways to not completely emasculate the engines, and where you could still get like decently powerful, I don't know why I'm using gendered language there, but
cut the dang balls off the damn car.
Right, exactly.
That's what they say.
Fucking neutered.
Yeah.
But what's so funny to me is like thinking like when I think about that era now, because that's so far in the past, and it's been so long since that was the case, because at some point, two things happened. One, the European countries and then the EU started to adopt the same emission standards that we had introduced in the 70s, and also manufacturers started figuring out how well, and because largely because of computer engine management systems, they figured out how to make engines run pretty clean and still be like really powerful and really efficient, which are just two sides of the same coin. And so all of that kind of dynamic is just this thing that's really only dimly remembered by people who are around to remember it. But what's funny to me about, like, the reason that I've been thinking about it recently is that I feel like we're entering a new era of that, where where it's like,
looking at other countries,
except now
China,
except now instead of the European just like feeling sorry for ourselves because we don't get the cool stuff that the Europeans get, now it's like thinking about like, yeah, the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra or whatever, or whatever Xpengs or Seekers that are coming online that or just like these fantastic, crazy, luxurious, totally cool Chinese vehicles that we can't get here because we don't get government. That. Right. And so it's kind of like we emerged from one dark age, had this moment in the sun
10
for a
years
while,
or so.
and now we're entering a new dark age.
Peter.
Yes.
Related. Can you name the other, without looking, Mercury? There was the XR4 Ti.
Oh yeah.
And what was the other one?
I can.
You've seen one
I can
in person.
Picture it.
Yeah.
I can picture it.
More Taurus looking.
It was based on the Granada. Was it called the Granada here?
Nope.
It wasn't.
Based
it was
on the. Shit. It was based.
Don't tell me. God damn it! I do know this.
Based on the Sierra, the biggest sedan.
Oh, god damn it!
You're gonna be so mad when I tell it to you because it's.
Oh no! You can't tell me because I will think of it. Mercury XR4 Ti, and then its big brother, the 4-door hatch,
made in Cologne.
Does it start with an L?
No, but L and the letter that it starts with belong in a similar place in my brain, if that makes sense. Probably does not make sense.
I gotta make an extended version of my little Jeopardy theme to put under this one. We're gonna be here a bit.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm sorry. When you're like, I feel like it starts with a whatever, and there are always letters that are not correct, but they pair. Does that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally, man.
Does that not make sense to you? I'm sorry. I hate it when I find out my brain works differently. Yeah, no.
Like, they're not next to each other.
I feel like it starts with an S, but R is an S. L is an S. No?
L is an S.
Yeah. LM.
That's just because your LS.
No, LM, SR
build
are the same. A. No.
Well, they both start with E.
No, AD. H. This is not.
ADH?
Yeah, those are all the same.
This is that new math.
They're
doing
interchangeable.
now.
D?
They're all interchangeable as far as I think it starts with the thing.
Dude, this is like a new version of synesthesia.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
that
you have
I don't think any
synesthesia, but for
scientist
one
has
thing.
discovered yet.
All right.
For letters.
Okay, sorry. Let's name the car. Get the fuck out of here. I feel bad. I feel embarrassed now.
Oh, god damn it. It's right on the tip of my
He's gonna
tongue.
think of it. He's gonna get there.
Okay. Do you want some more hints?
No, because I know it.
He knows it. He's gonna pull it.
Fuck. I mean, I can tell you exactly where the last time I saw one was.
Well, tell me.
It was in North Carolina.
Yeah, that sounds right. 5-door hatch. Available with the Cologne V6. Do you want me to tell you the wheelbase?
No.
Look, I can tell you the wheelbase.
He's gonna get there. He's getting there. He's getting close. He's thinking about it.
All right, Maddie, I'm going to tell you the wheelbase. Peter, don't listen. 108.7 inches.
I know exactly what that is, and I'm rotating numbers good in my brain. That's another thing I'm really good at.
2,761 millimeters.
Oh, this is really.
You're gonna get there. I believe in you.
It's like I feel like this is the only thing that I'm good for.
Had a big full heck blend in the back. I guess that's the key.
And it's like if I can't do this, I feel like my reasons for existing have run out.
Peter, you are good for so much in this world.
Yeah.
You're gonna pull it in like 2 days and be like, "Fuck."
Did you guys see that video? I sent you the Frank video. It was a serpentine belt that was trying to jump a tooth.
Oh yes.
Those two little pulleys.
Yes.
Fuck you, man! You don't know my pain.
That's pretty good.
Very tired pod coded video. We should post that. I think in the we could put it on. We could share it on the Instagram. All right, Peter.
Okay, can we just like go quickly to another topic
I'll kill some time for
come
you.
Come back to this.
I had a listener question that I can actually fill in while you're thinking.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
2.9 liter V6.
I can't. No. We have to let him think.
Okay.
Okay. So, I had a listener ask because
Yes.
they had heard our broadcast about Daytona, and were interested in some of the little teams that we had mentioned and some of the little driver lineups that we had spotted, and so they were particularly interested in the Trackhouse TF Sport Corvette team, which was Ben Keating, Connor Zilic, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Scott McLaughlin. And when they went to check for Sebring, they were like, oh, it's not there. So that is some teams don't run in every single endurance race. Some of them they actually just are set up for Daytona for this year. They haven't announced any others.
I think that was a Daytona one-off. Yeah. Daytona is a big race, and because it happens at a spot in the calendar where
nothing else is happening.
Most other series have not kicked in yet. So yeah, I mean, like we were talking about, I mean, that's part of the appeal of Daytona is because there's not a lot of other stuff going on, and so a lot of drivers from other series will come over to. It's
also a big enough race like Le Mans where it's like it means something for you to win at Daytona, so you get a lot of one-offs where it's like, you know, I just want to race. Like I want the fucking Rolexes that you get when you win Daytona, and like that's it. It's like, you know, being able to say you want an Indy or whatever. Yeah.
To the second part of our listener question, though.
Yes.
You will.
Is this the harder part? Okay.
No. I believe you will next see Ben Keating at Imola. If you would like to keep up with Scott McLaughlin, he is in IndyCar, and Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilic are both with Trackhouse, but they are in the NASCAR Cup and Xfinity series. So you will have to put 3 different other racing series on your calendar and wait for Imola, I think, to see Ben Keating. I'm not sure when he's next out. I think that's the next one on the calendar for them. But yeah, that's where all those boys went.
The next WEC race. Yeah,
they were kind of a super group.
It's funny.
Kind of fun.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's why that team was so. It was just such a kind of fun and interesting pairing of just likable people.
They were goofing on social media. They seem to be having a lot of fun. They seem,
right?
Yeah. I was sharing a lot of tweets with this person who wrote in to ask what happened, why. But I too would like to see that lineup come back. I hope that next year at Daytona maybe they'll do it again. That'd be fun.
Yeah, or come to the hill climb.
Yeah, really. Connor. Peter, any luck? Can you pull it?
Oh, God damn it, man! It's
did that get the blood going up there?
Do you want a sticker price?
No, it's like
Rory's gonna bench race this whole car.
It's not like Lagoon or Lucerne or something. It's
base price of $23,390.
That's all. I would
Yeah.
have guessed it was
Well,
more.
well, at the time.
That's in
That's
1980,
64 grand
$64
today.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, inflation's
Oh.
crazy. Did I tell you guys?
God damn it!
Did I never tell you guys?
I mean, I could draw it. I could literally fucking draw the car.
Okay. Do you want the ultimate hint?
The what?
The hint that will give it to you?
Okay, sure.
Or do you want? I can give you some more weird hints. I can give you.
The trivia, the spec sheet trivia is not gonna.
Okay.
It's because it's a word, right?
Yeah. It's my, and I know that I'm wrong about this. I believe it to be my zodiac sign.
Oh, fucking Scorpio. God
Yes.
damn it.
Yeah. I don't know if that's
Where
my.
was I getting the L stuff?
Wait,
They're the same.
Well,
What
and
was that
L is
car
an
called
S.
in
Hang
Europe?
on, it
It's
happened.
L and S is the same.
No, this can't be happening.
Yes, it is. It starts with game. L and S is the same. They're interchangeable.
This can't be. No, hang on.
I'm gonna draw a diagram.
Oh, and look, a near direct counterpart of the Ford Scorpio Mark I (parentheses Ford Granada Mark III in the UK).
UK Granada. Yeah.
So
you're right. Yeah. Not based in
and
the
then
US. Granada.
where was I getting the L shit from?
It's this.
I hate this.
It's the same. It is the same. It's the same. It starts with there's.
This
Look,
is not
there are
linguistically
letters.
sound.
Yes. No. There are letters that. There's piles of letters that things can start with in your head, and they're all. Okay. I don't know if it works this way for anybody else. That's how it works for me.
I mean, I get it. What you're saying. I mean, there are other things that work like that for me.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh, it starts with a A, and I'll be wrong, but I'll be wrong in a group of letters that are like I'm always thinking, like an S word starts with this. You know what I mean? And like the word is
Yeah.
It's like the S's and M's, and the L's. Anyway.
S's, M's, and L's.
You know what?
Those are all
I don't-
letters that
listen, I don't need to
where the
explain
name
it. I don't
of
need
the
to
letter
explain it to
starts
you.
with a short
I don't need to explain
E
it to you. This is how it works.
So maybe that's where it comes from.
Yeah. Wait, what? Do you have an actual explanation for that? I was defending myself. We should stay tired.
Yes.
Stay tired out there, everybody.
Stay tired.
We'll be back soon.
And
Production note from me. I apologize. Episode's been a little off schedule. I'm still moving this month. I will keep trying to have 2 out every week, as even if they're on slightly unusual days. Thank you all for your patience with me.